makhosi.
Okay.
Sibuyile.
Sibuyile ngiyanibingelela man. Ngothando lukaMveli Nqaka. Khusela lo inyanga yamashishki igedla lamakhosi. Angisol futhi hayi kancane. I want to welcome you guys back to Kemi TV. Those guys that tuned in the first few episodes, we welcome you back again. Hoping that this episode is really going to assist you, man. Kehla, sibaphathele namhlanje.
Namhlanje we're speaking about spirit, but before we go into that, dala ngakugcina mkhulu.
Ndoda.
Dala ngakugcina. I know it's only been 7 days, mara dala ngakugcina.
Hayi uyazi
Ngithemba ukuthi ukahle.
hayi no samile bafankhadi khala abathakathi. Siyabonga.
I wonder what people think when they see you. Let me not get into. Okay, namhlanje sikhuluma nge-spiritual hygiene. What is spiritual hygiene? Just give us a definition.
Spiritual hygiene.
Spiritual hygiene.
Spiritual hygiene kehla masikhuluma nge-spiritual hygiene singena endabeni ejulile that a lot of people take for granted.
Sure.
We're talking about not only the physical, we're talking about the mental, we're talking about your auric field. Not
Auric
only
field.
your auric field. We're talking about how clean you are, how much you cleanse yourself. Ngoba abantu bahamba indawo ehlukahlukile ba attractor bathatha izinto banyathela babamba izinto ezibangcolisayo. So
Sure.
that spiritual hygiene would be how often do you clean yourself spiritually?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Hey, thanks for that. Yo, another way I understood it was in the same way. Okay, uthenga iteki, ne? Uthenga iteki inhle. It's never been worn before. It's cool. You put it on. Uyalisebenzisa because uyaligqoka uyalisebenzisa. And then mayingcola kumele uyigeze ukuthi ibe clean futhi. And then the same thing applies spiritually ukuthi nawe mawufika emhlabeni ufika uclean. That's if umsamo kabazali kuqondile, ufika uclean, ufika ufumbethe inhlanhla yakho na konke into yakho. Then isikhathi masihamba just naturally nje uyangcola, even if mhlawumbe awuyanga or awuyenzanga into enobungcola, but just naturally isikhathi masihamba nje udobha ubungcola. And the same way ugeza nomzimba, mawungagezi umzimba uzonuka kithi. 7 days later khapha zizokhala. Same thing spiritually, makuhamba isikhathi nje uyangcola, kwamele ugeze or whatever. We'll get into the practicals of how do you exercise spiritual hygiene. I want to ask, what are the dangers of not looking after your spiritual hygiene? Like what, maybe you can speak whatever comes to your heart or whatever you've seen in your experience. What are the dangers? What have you seen, especially thina abantu abamnyama?
Yazi kehla masizoyidalula le ndaba sithi sayivula. The dangers on its own could be a whole talk on its own.
Sure.
Masikhuluma.
Okay.
Siqale ngo the most basic. Umuntu uzithola aloku apply for umsebenzi. Imisebenzi ayitholayo is either not ezingeni which they have studied for. It's not at the level which they studied for. Or abawutholi at all umsebenzi. Baloku bazibuza mabahamba bahlola batshelwa ukuthi hayi unesilwane, hayi kuvaleke emsamo, hayi mina nginawo umsamo, hayi ngenzile lokhu. Kuwukuthi nje kumele ugeze wena. Uphethe isipoko, uphethe isilwane, ungcolile ngokomoya, uhamba indawo uyagroova la ekuthwalwe khona. Izenzo zakho nabantu olala nabo zingcolisile. The dangers are, it affects your finances, it affects your relationships, it even affects your own mentality, even affecting you physically. Ngikhuluma ngani mangithi physically kehla? As within, so without. So wazi ukuthi if your higher self or your spirit ayihlambulukanga, usithole ukuthi bathi unesichitho or nokugula or umuntu ohlala ugula, awazi ukuthi yini le ngulisayo. Spiritual hygiene, all you need to do ukuthi uhambe uyogezwa, ufake empophomeni, gezwe ngemithi, or whichever religion you follow, get, or whatever spiritual path you follow, get cleansed spiritually. Because ukungcola kwakho spiritually can even block amaphupho wakho.
Yo. Hayi, ngiyakuzwa mkhulu, ngiyakuzwa. Yazi I love what you're saying ngoba I remember umunye uke wabuza ukuthi why is it that mina ngiyageza everyday ngithatha insipho ngiyazigeza umzimba ngigeze ngibe right ngifake idoni nakonke kodwa bathi ngcolile. Ngicela uchaze mkhulu, how does that happen according to ulwazi lwakho?
Ithi sigange ngeBhayibheli. Ithi sigange ngeBhayibheli.
Okay.
Kunenkulumo eseBhayibhelini ekhuluma ngokugeza ikomishi ngaphandle kodwa ngcolile ngaphakathi. You are washing the outside of the cup, ufake iperfume, uclean impahla ziclean kodwa ngaphakathi you are not clean. Spiritual cleansing is the cleansing of the inner world.
Okay.
So ungaloku ugeza uloku sihlambulula ngemithi kodwa things that have dirtied you spiritually and things that have made you filthy at soul level, your auric field. Your auric field. Sesiyajula mara ithi sijule ngoba seyisukile. The human heart produces what we call a electromagnetic field, just like the earth has an electromagnetic field that emanates from the core.
The earth is a giant magnet.
Yeah. And likewise, the heart does the same thing.
Okay.
Your auric field ingcoliswa i-association yakho nabantu abangagezekile. Angifuni ukuthi abantu abangagezekile ngayiphi indlela, but I'll just give you examples. Abantu abahamba bagroove endaweni labantu abathwele ngezinto ezingcole khona. Ufike ungcoliswe wena. Because your auric field is attracting all of those things, we have what we call NEA, negative entity attachment. Imimoya emibi that are loitering around, amaphara womoya, attach themselves to you ngoba wena you are clean to a certain level, not as dirty as everyone. So feeding off of your energy would be a good source.
But we're going to speak about exactly when does one need a cleanse. But yeah, can I just move on to the next question to say, so we've spoken about spiritual hygiene as it pertains to yourself, your body, your higher self, your inner self. Ne? How does spiritual hygiene apply to your environment? So that would be not just your physical body, but the bed you sleep on, the room you spend most of the time in, the house you dwell in, the car you drive in, the business you work, not umlungu, but business lakho. Like, does spiritual hygiene apply there?
Definitely.
And Yazi, I want to mix that with the question of what is ukuqina? Inyanga sithanda ukukhuluma ngokuqina, ne? Because umunye umuntu uzothi wena uqinanga, that's why ushayeka easily. Or imoto yakho ayiqinanga, that's why iloku ishayisa. Or business, just the things I listed, yourself, your house, your car, your businesses. How does spiritual hygiene apply there, and what is ukuqina as it pertains to those things I've listed? Ngolwazi lwakho mkhulu.
Makhosi. Like I mentioned, your auric field is susceptible to be made dirty by association, by environment. Ungacabanga ukuthi wena ungahlala ekamereni endlini engaklinwa, endlini ekungena kuphume noma ubani bangena nezinto ezihlukahlukene. Ningayihlambululi, ningayigezi ngemithi, holy water, whatever you use, imlotha. Bese wena, that house is not only spiritually dirty, but ayiklinwa, ayihlanjululwa, mara wena ukhona ukubeka impahla zakho lapho, ukhona ukulala khona. Obvious, bacteria is airborne. Not only does it stick to material things, but bacteria is airborne.
Sure.
So indawo mayingahlanjululwa, mayingagezwa physically, even the things that you're wearing are not going to be clean. Or masesijula manje, because the place is dirty, we know that spirits that are filthy cannot settle in a place that is not cleansed.
Sure.
So your place becomes a magnet for imimoya engcolile. That happening by default when amuhlala lapho, you uzosithola mawulele ebusuku uthi wena uyageza no I'm clean, mara amaphupho wakho izinto ozibonayo will be the first telltale sign ukuthi the environment I'm in ayihlambulukanga, mina angigezekanga. Night terrors are the first place that you must go to ukuthi wena whenever uphupha awunaki uphuphe nje into emnandi, maybe uphupha ufufa, maybe uphupha udla ithelo, no, wena njalo uyagijinyiswa, njalo uyagwazwa, njalo uphupha amagazi, njalo uphupha amagaga. njalo uphele erumini lakho maringathi kuyathusa la uhleli khona uphupha kumnyama la uhleli khona
amanzi amnyama iy'lwane ezinama inking mahlo ahubethu
so uyabona ukuthi that not only applies to your physical environment but business wise.
Sure.
Nemoto yakho, same story that I'm describing. The place where you work, same story that I'm advising. Uyendaweni la wazi kahle ukuthi lo muntu lo ithi sithi usebenzisa isibunge sama spams. Or isibunge esine ingredient ngaphakathi isibunge osishisayo for ibusiness ukudonsa ama customer esingagezekanga esineyilwane ngaphakathi. Yebo bayagcwala abantu mara labantu esibadonsayo are people that are not spiritually stable. Siyashesha ukubabamba sibadonse and mabafika lapho bafika nani nezinto zabo. So manje now we're moving on to ukuqina. But before we go there, in your car, who are you letting in? Do you know the people you drive around with? How often do you have different people in your car? So when we move on into ukuqina.
Yes, mkhulu. Yini ukuqina ngoba inyanga they love this chat yokuthi wena uqinanga wena. Must test imithi sitesta ngawo.
Ene kunjalo bakhohlake bayabheda lapho. Mara when we're talking about ukuqina,
yes,
we are talking about different aspects of security.
Okay. Security.
Okay. Kungaba ngingubo. Kungaba with different pendants. Amaphondo, amabhodlela, imithi or impahla zakho, imithi oyigezayo ngayo impahla zakho, mosifaka.
Okay.
It would also go into ukugcatshwa. Sesikufaka inhlanga, sikufaka umuthi egazini ukuthi awudingi ukuthi uloku ugqokana nezinto. Naturally in your blood you already have security.
Sure.
Amabhandi, you see what I mean?
Sure.
And then sibuye sikhulume ngama covenant or agreements you have with different spirits. Hayi no angeke sibayeke khetha kumele siye khona.
Okay.
Uyabona uthole ukuthi umuntu akazwani nemithi nani.
Sure.
Bavese bathi no, there's a example, there's a specific spirit we can get you into a covenant with. La uhamba khona lento iyakuvikela. No ithi utiko loshozo ukugada. La uhamba khona uhamba nawo uqiniswe ngesilwane. Uqiniswe through a covenant with the spirit. So uqinisa is the application of security, whether through garments, through imithi, through ukugcatshwa, through spiritual covenants, spiritual agreements.
Okay.
Or spirits that you naturally have nidlozi lakho
nje
is ukuqiniswa. Mawugezwe idlozi lakho nethongo lakho zizokuqinisa zo.
Nginombuzo khehla ukuthi sakhumbula besikhuluma nge-spiritual ignorance nomsamo ne sathi omunye umuntu ulanda umuthi akawubiki emsamo bese awusebenzi ngoba umsamo ubalulekile ukundlula umuthi. So then omunye umuntu uzothi why is it that mkhulu mina umsamo wami ngiuqondisile ngiyakhuleka ngiyaphahla every day umsamo ukahle kodwa ngikhuluma ngokuqiniswa. Why kumele ngiziqinise ekubeni umsamo wami ukhona ukahle uyasebenza. Kahle kahle la ngiyakhona ukuthi iqiniso na ukuthi idlozi namathongo akina ayalekelelwa na.
It would depend Kehla on a lot of factors.
Okay.
Ithi nje sigange eBhayibheli futhi.
Sure.
The 10 commandments that people venerate so much are actually a sham and a wash off of what we call the Kemetic Egyptian laws of Ma'ahat. These are laws that are given to a soul when they come into the human body to ensure that the soul does not accumulate ukungcola. So that when the soul passes, kulula ukuthi uyondlulele ethongweni. Because when you accumulate ukungcola or karmic debt, akundluleki kumele ubuye uzoba yini idlozi elidlozomelayo or reincarnate to resolve your karma. So in that sense kuzoya ngemimoya yakho, kuzoya about how much. I think in the previous episode we spoke about the karma of umsamo, the family tree. So if nabo abagezekanga or nabo they had too much debt, they won't be that strong. Angeke kube namathongo aphakeme kakhulu because there's even levels ethongweni.
Okay.
So kuzoba ke ethongweni ukuthi okay niyabona ukuthi ninginike igunya lokuthi ngilande into eyokuphakamisa ini business, ninginike amandla mangibuye emanzini ukuthi ngiphakame naturally. Now I have enemies. Ningangivikela up until a certain extent ngoba nomuntu naye inkabi enomuthi can bypass whatever protection you have from idlozi lakho bakushaya bakufaka inhlava uhambe emhlabeni. So it would be specific to each and every situation. It wouldn't be overall.
So you're saying in some cases asifani igazi lethu alifani. Omunye umuntu ukuqina kwakhe it's enough ukuthi athele isnake akhulume nedlozi lakhe namathongo akhe ukuthi ngicela ukuthi ningivikele ukuthi nokuthi ngicela ibhizinisi elisebenza kanjena ngicela ukuthi ningivikele, and that's enough for him. But omunye umuntu thola ukuthi ngoba mhlawumbe kwenakele emsamo, or maybe just because amadlozi ethu awafani in terms of power levels and whatever. I don't know what the difference, because idlozi is not standard, that I know. But are you saying that it just differs? Some people will need to go that extra mile of ukuqinisa ngomuthi or whatever they choose to.
Uthi ngenza umzekelo kahle. Umkhulu wakho bekanamateksi.
Sure.
Makashona amateksi wakhe bewaqinisile, indlu yakhe beyiqinisile, walidlulisela lamateksi kuwo. Ubaba wakho sekagugile ufuna ukudlulisela lawa amateksi kuwo. Bona lapha ethongweni lapha edlozini bayazi understanda lezi zinto ukuthi nali business esalinika umfana wethu. Yaqiniswa le business kumele ivuselelwe futhi. Angeke siyivikele ngoba siyazi ukuthi the business that we are in, we are operating with people of this sort. Nabo abanemithi ejulile. So likewise, it would be the understanding of idlozi lakho ukuthi likubheke lithi how you don't have enemies. You're just a guy who's working at a hospital. Yeah, you just need uqiniswa because you deal nabantu abashonayo each and every day. Do you see what I mean?
Just explain that a little bit for the viewer, because you are touching something that I think is valuable to say. You are omunye umuntu udinga ukuqiniswa just because of the occupational hazards that they face, and some of those hazards are not necessarily physical but spiritual. Ngoba mawusebenza emoshari.
Exactly.
Sure.
There are different energies on earth attracted by different environments. Yingakho sometimes kumele uphahle ehlanzi, sometimes kumele uphahle emanzini, sometimes akuphahleki ekhaya because of different surroundings. Sometimes mawuye emsebenzini uhamba nenhlanhla yakho yemvelo because of into eyenziwayo lapho ngoba let's be true, everybody has a certain tool they use ukuphakamisa izinto zabo.
Okay.
Kumele ube nento yoku-inshora ukuthi ufike nento ethwebula iy'nhlanhla laphaya ingathwebula inhlanhla yakho ngoba uma uthwebula inhlanhla naturally kusetshenziswa imithi ekungcolisayo. You're working at a mortuary, you deal nabantu abashone ngendlela ey'hlukahlukile.
Exactly.
Some people died violent deaths. Some people died of sickness. Abanye bathakathiwe baze bafa. So depending on your occupation, depending where you work, it's always essential ukuthi uqiniswe because unbeknownst to you, every day you deal with different energies carried by people. Others, naturally, they have chosen that to be their habitat because they can feed easier there.
I want to move on to the next question, but before I go here, I want to ask you, which we are saying spiritual hygiene, keeping your spirit self, your higher self, your inner self, your inner self clean. And now we spoke about uguqina to protect yourself from deliberate. Remember, we said umuntu yangcola naturally as just the progression of life, but then there are some deliberate hazards that are out there which may pose a threat to someone's spiritual hygiene or cleanliness or health. And so may look clean. But now my question is, what if in the process or your manner of ukuziqinisa you end up ungcola uthi uyaziqinisa but uyazingcolisa ngokuqina kwakho? Is such a thing possible?
Yaziwe ebunyangeni ukuthi akumelanga ujule ngokuhlale usebenzisa umuthi. Whether umuthi wenhlanhla, whether umuthi onjani, mara you must give your soul a break. Ugeze ngamanzi nje, uthandaze and fast. Geze ngamanzi, uthandaze and fast. Because umuthi ushiya insila khehla. Ushiya insila. Yingakho futhi umuthi mawukhishwa endumbeni kumele uphahlwe. Mawufika lapha kumele ubikwe. Ukuthi idlozi lizothatha lunuke, luhlambulule if need be. Ungaloku nje uthatha into uyisebenzisa oyiphahlanga, ngoba idlozi lakho mawuthole umuthi onento engamelanga isetshenziswe emndenini wakho, lizongcola. Lizongcola. Uzosalelwa insila yomuthi and uzogcine usebenze. Abantu bathaka ngezinto ezijulile la ngaphandle.
Sure, that's true.
Lapha ngifuna ukuthi singene ngoba sizonyathela inyawo zabantu. We don't want war. So abantu, you guys must know ukuthi yebo kunemithi enamandla amaningi. Mara abantu bathaka ngendlela ehlukahlukile. Ngisho uhambe umthandazi ongayazi noma umprofeti ongayazi lento ayenzayo, ahamba ayolanda amanzi amile, athi ufuna ukukunika isiwasho, usithandazelile, amanzi la kufike kulahlwe ilwane khona wena ugeze.
You're describing it as